hello, and welcome to the Den, the Table Talk Edition. How's everybody doing tonight? Thank you for chiming in. Please share the live, share the live, share the live. Um, we're going to talk about some amazing things. I have an awesome table of people to have conversation with me tonight. Um, I'll let them go around and introduce themselves.
Well, I'm Destiny, weavologist extraordinary, interior design passion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Kayla, also known as Aja, incognito tonight. Just here for the table talk and talk about these topics and just have a good, relaxed Saturday night.
I know that's right.
Yes, I'm the self-proclaimed Don of the .com, Dallas the Don. And so I'm just happy to be here. Thank you for tuning in. I've been waiting to get to talk so we could get everybody's questions. So if you're tuning in, share the live. I'm trying to share it too so you can see it. And that way nobody feels left out because it's a lot of posts and I just want to make sure everybody's included. It doesn't feel left out or don't address anything.
So I definitely want to like go over some norms, like just for the conversation for our listeners who are listening in. We this is going to be really a heavy conversation. Some of the topics are going to be kind of heavy. Um, we ask that the panelists, respect and to be one diva, one mic. That some of us step up and step back. So if you're really talking and holding down the floor, give space for others to talk. We definitely want to be respectful. Um, of people, of us at this table. And then we want to remember that everyone is an expert at their own experience or feelings. So when people are speaking about their experiences, you can't be mad about their experiences or their feelings because we know that individuals' feelings are valid. And then, like I said again, it's going to be some heavy conversations because and I also want to talk about what happened with my show last night and my decision to cancel the show. And so after I talk about that, then we'll roll into our discussion about so many other things, as well as take questions from the audience. So thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all can go ahead and share some more. Hey Cornelius, how are you, darling? Hey Elizabeth, how are you? Jarvis, hey handsome, how are you? So I guess I'll get going. So um so yesterday was supposed to have been my benefit show at Babes, and I want to thank everybody who um was donating that time. Thank you, Kayla, Victoria, DJ Derek, Bianca, Aaliyah, Miss Kelly. Um, and, thank you to Michelle for affording me the opportunity to be booked there. Um, the reason that I decided to cancel my show was because at about 4 o'clock yesterday, quarter to five, I got an inbox, and the inbox was questioning the fact about the entertainers' vaccination status. So I was kind of like thrown back. So I messaged everyone in the group and asked, if they had that status. The entertainers responded back. Um, so I then had a conversation with the owner of the club, and I asked, when had this policy been implemented because I wasn't aware of it. Also, I don't attend Babes of Currytown like that, so I wouldn't be informed about like if there's a change.
Mhm.
And so I have a lot of people who were coming to see me, and some of my family, some of my friends, they have not made the choice to be vaccinated. And being black and brown people, some trans people, some really marginalized people who were like stepping out on a limb and about to come to Babes on the principle of supporting me that night. who have built their self-esteem from support groups, right? Who
Mhm.
were going to come out that night and then possibly be turned away, face discrimination at a club that is supposed to be for us, being turned away because of that personal choice not to be vaccinated. So thinking about that, thinking about the trauma that we suffer anyway as people, and then most importantly, the fact of the tardiness and the lateness of the notification of this change or this new regulation, where had that been discussed with me July 20th when I booked the event, when they gave me all of the logistics for the show, who to email the music to, they could have communicated that then, and I would have been totally fine with that. And that's the way that I would have advertised the event. You get what I'm saying?
So none of that was touched on
Not
in the initial.
not when I booked the show. No.
Okay.
When I sent the message in the group to y'all, that was when it was brought to my attention.
Okay.
And what time was that? Just to be clear, because
When you told us,
when I asked y'all that question,
I keep receipts, so just give me 1 second.
Hey, Miss Kelly. Hey, Ricardo. Hey, Infinity. Love you too, baby.
Did you? Hold
Well,
oh, there it is.
Okay, you found it.
So, you text at. Okay, 4:09 p.m.
Okay. And so I was waiting for everybody to respond back. And so
And
anyway,
they did.
Yeah, and they did. And based on just that thought process about all of those people who were coming, I really felt some type of way because I felt like that information should have been given to me a long time ago. And then, like when I made the post, then to see individuals to chime in on the post that really don't follow me, don't support anything that I do, belittle what I stand for, what my organization stands for you to chime in on that post and then to try to share an article about the club saying that they were, either you get your vaccination or go somewhere else. And then like if you read, that's like something that I really push for our community to do is to read, look deeper and read into it and not skim anything. Because if you further read in the article, it states that the club says that if individuals are not vaccinated, then they can have on the mask, right? Okay, so as of July 23rd, on their social media, they were letting unvaccinated people into the club, but you had to have a mask on and a band. Remember?
Yeah, I was one of them.
Yeah, when did we go?
Maybe a month and a half ago.
Okay.
It was I think it was like the first show. It was a good crowd that night. Miss Kelly done performed.
Yeah.
And it's been promoted like it's open with no special requirements.
Yeah.
So.
And the first time that you ever really saw anything in regards to, it being vaccinated people only was after I made the announcement about my show being canceled and why it was being canceled. So overall health and wellness, y'all know, everybody knows sitting at the table, overall health and wellness is important to me. HIV prevention and education is important to me. Trans liberation and equality and resilience is important to me. And so, but also personal choice is important and inclusivity is important.
Yes.
So when we think about all of those things, how can a club that is white owned, I'm gonna be real about it, I'm not gonna beat around the bush, who has privilege, it is a form of discrimination and segregation because there are proper protection measures that you can take to make sure that everybody is safe. Right. So there's you could be checking temperatures. Temperatures are not being checked there. You could check temperatures. There could be hand sanitation stations. Yeah. People could have that mask on. You know what I'm saying? There are many ways that people could take precautions and not make people who are already marginalized and discriminated against feel more
discriminated.
Right. So that was why I decided to cancel the show. So Elizabeth said, it's frustrating to watch the ownership support and endorse new age segregation. This happened last summer too with her stance on Black Lives Matter.
It's sad.
Was the ban specifically to denote vaccination status? If so, again, more segregation. Yeah. What are y'all thoughts on that?
On this situation overall?
And how I handled the situation. Do you think I handled the situation wrong? Like I'm being really like open.
No, I think it was unprofessional on their behalf, because at the time when the show was originally scheduled, we were still dealing with things within the pandemic, regardless of what state we were in. So for them not to acknowledge or even touch on the subject when you went over everything else, come on, and then you get 2-3 hours before the show, and now it's about a vaccination. That's kind of awkward, strange, and like red flags can go up because everyone's not vaccinated, and then 3 weeks prior you said you saw a post where non-vaccinated people were just allowed in the venue. So something's not adding up or something's not making sense. And then sometimes I guess people want to make rash.
I actually shared the post. I don't know if you probably can't see it on your screen, but I shared the post. It says, no. That was the one after my show where they talked about the shows being for people who were fully vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the one from July 23rd where it said we have reached capacity for unvaccinated people tonight. But when I was told that this rule was in place, they told me the rule was in place 6 weeks ago. This happened 6 weeks ago. And July 23rd and August 13th, that's not 6 weeks ago.
6 weeks ago would have been July 1st.
Right. So, I think a lot of people, like Maya Angelou say, when they show you who they are, believe them. I think a lot of people who comment on the post showed me who they were. I was really disappointed how, as a community of people that are LGBTQ, the mentality and the thought process and the words and how people can be extremely hurtful and also try to find, I guess, some type of cattiness or enjoyment because of the fact that they think somebody may be, going through something because of a decision or something that happens. And we as a people need to grow. And Denise, where do we live and what's the history of this city?
Here in Richmond, it hasn't always been the opportunities that we have today. Absolutely. We come from some rough beginnings. And I think it's an underbelly to the whole story about the situation with the show, knowing that it's for you, a well-known advocate here in the city of Richmond, and the work that you do at Nations. That comes back to us as a people, not really wanting to be, for our own personal reasons, wanting to be vaccinated, which our numbers probably are the lowest in our community with being vaccinated. Why not stop us from coming in the club?
I think it's disappointing because since we've been faced with the pandemic, things have changed and we've taken a new approach. We've been more forward thinking. We've operated differently. We've taken precautions, a lot of digital presence. And so a lot of live streaming has went on. I think there's been things that have happened. And I just find it disappointing for babes to throw last minute and say, hey, everybody needs to be vaccinated, especially if they did not come out and say it already, or they have made posts that say, hey, due to the rise in the numbers, this is now a requirement that we're making. So that way, when I have people that's coming from DC, Atlanta, Florida, and we're coming to put something together and we're coming to a venue that we booked and we spend a lot of time and a lot of logistics go into planning. And I just find it disrespectful to throw that last minute plan without saying another, or not even making a post about it, just, reaching out to who the beneficiary was. So I think by you not doing the show there, I mean, and people posted the hateful rhetoric, like if you don't get your shot, go somewhere else. That type of hateful rhetoric, we have to be careful with doing that in the community, especially if we are in the capital of the Confederacy, where type of racial stuff, it has been going on for years in our community, and we're coming through and we're trying to get to a place of change. But how can we do it if people are still up to their old antics and they're not willing to change and to embrace a new way of doing things? So communication definitely could have been clear and stated on this is what's going on, because during COVID, communication is so clear for all of us because there's a lot of information that we're receiving through the media, some of which we know is true and some of it may not be true. So there's a lot of information that we're having to funnel. So as a business, they should be prepared to have COVID. What are their COVID guidelines? What are they doing as a business? Babes of Currytown that is dealing with COVID. What are their guidelines? What do they? That's why it's a lot of confusion. And so we have to cut down the confusion so that way we can stop with the discrimination, because some people are discriminated against just because of certain characteristics about a vaccine, and it's just not right. And people that are vaccinated are getting COVID and they're spreading it around, and they're probably, so at the same time, everybody is at risk. We're all at risk and we're all in it together. And I think that's the important thing that we try to remember, is that we're in this together, and to see a community, especially that's fighting for equality, to exclude when we're fighting for equality is disheartening, and it's sad. And the amount of hate that they just put out about it on my post today that people have about my stance on things, it's just been disheartening.
So let's talk about the vaccine issue, right? And when you think about that, like, what were your thoughts about the vaccine when it first came out, and what are your thoughts about the vaccine now, and like the information that you are getting? Like, what was your thoughts then, honestly, and what are your thoughts now?
Okay, I thought the Antichrist initially, and especially with amongst African American people, where we have been used as like lab mice basically, and things have
like
guinea pigs,
Tuskegee experiment.
right? So it was hard to kind of like, ooh, well, what is this? And then a lot of time didn't go into this, versus other things that have come along in, in the past. So it's like it was very questionable for me. In the end, I just felt like if it's my time to go, it's my time to go. Yeah. Maybe this is something that I need to protect me from, possibly dying. So I did decide to vaccinate, and that was personal.
Now, before you vaccinated, were you willy dilly nilly? Were you acting
No.
crazy?
No.
Were you putting yourself at risk? Were you walking around without a mask on?
No.
Okay.
No. Okay. And even after, I still wear masks into stores. Some say if you're vaccinated, you don't have to, but I still go to the car and get my mask, and
right.
Because
me too.
With these variants and all this new stuff, it's like, okay, we don't have that extra layer of protection,
and they not clear,
and it's no clarity on what's going on. So let me get my mask, let me continue to sanitize. I haven't taken the sanitizer out the car and the house and the office, of course. So yeah,
and there are precautions that they can put in place as a business owner, like nations. We did not close through the whole entire pandemic. You know what I'm saying? the people we serve, we couldn't afford to close. We couldn't afford to stop doing HIV testing, giving out condoms, sending people food, helping people with their rents. Those are things that we couldn't stop doing. So implementing things to be inclusive of everybody that needed to come in for services, not making anyone feel marginalized, oppressed, discriminated against, not good enough. So what do? We handed out face masks for individuals who didn't have face masks, and not one but a pack.
Yeah.
We made sure folks had hand sanitizers. When they came in, we checked their temperatures. They had to sanitize their hands. They had to keep their mask on. Staff had to keep their mask on. So there are precautions, and not once did we ask anybody about their vaccination status because that's your personal information. I get it that businesses can do what it is that they want to do, but you could have universal precautions, just like we have universal precautions for other things. It could be universal precautions to help fight this pandemic and not impede on people's personal choices or making them feel less than because they did not choose to be vaccinated. So that is my stance on that. And at the end of the day, the whole thing about my show, and I really want to be clear about that, I stopped my show not because people, it was an issue about vaccinations. I canceled my show because of the tardiness of them telling me of this, rule for me to be able to advertise it properly so that people aren't discriminated against who have decided not to get the vaccine. So, like me, I was dead set against the vaccine. I was very vocal about that. And the reason that I was vocal about it is because it's taken many years for them to come up with PrEP to fight and defend HIV. So, like, my question was like literally and ethically, how did they come up with something this fast that just happened so quickly? You know what I'm saying? But HIV has been in existence for many years, and it was not until 2012 that PrEP was invented that, keeps people from contracting HIV. So, and then when I'm listening to the news, Denise, you got me into CNN. Boots have me listening to CNN. So I started really tuning in. It was better than watching like the news because it was a trip sometimes too, just the way they put stuff together. But at the end of the day, the messages that were coming about the vaccine from there were not concise, were not clear. They were contradictory. And even though you have the vaccine, you still can catch the virus. You still can pass the virus on.
Absolutely.
So, like a club just free willy saying, "Oh yeah, well you got the vaccine, so you ain't got to wear your mask, and you can be drunk, and you can spit all on people because you're getting drunk."
Oh
and
no!
Because people do that. Some people do that.
Yes, we just had
So those are modes of transmission. Those are opportunities for it to be super spreader events. But what I think that everybody should have masks on. I think that there should be hand sanitizing stations all around clubs to make sure that people are continuously, wiping their hands and keeping them clean. And I also think that folks should be checking temperatures when they come through the door. When we were having events at Nations in the event center, it was mandatory for us to check temperatures, people to sanitize their hands, and they had to have their mask on. And everybody complied to that, and everybody had a good time. Nobody felt discriminated or turned away, and we did not have to ask folks about their vaccination. It was a universal precaution that we took to not make people feel segregated.
Yeah, and a lot of that too, going back to if just because you have the vaccine does not mean that you're not able to catch COVID and you're not able to pass it. So some people had a lot of negative rhetoric about the vaccine. It doesn't matter if you get the vaccine or you're not vaccinated. Just don't force people to do something. We should be a welcoming community. We face a lot of discrimination as it is, and it's time for us to change some of the history, so history is not continue to repeat itself. And we need to be able to do that so we can come together and say, and not even worry about the vaccination status, because what that has brought up is other liberties of revealing other information such as HIV status, or if you're taking PrEP, since some of the clubs or some venues are where maybe HIV and STIs may be transmitted higher than other places. There's bars or clubs, maybe that's where that some of that stuff is transmitted. So those places should have precautionary measures in place for everything. So I just hope that they do, and I think that the CDC, the WHO, and I think the health department, everybody should be looking in and invest and finding out what do they have in place. Help base update, a little bit with their guidelines, so that way we're all clear, because communication is important as a community. We got to have communication.
Well, one of our viewers said, Chantel Rose said that she lives a block away from Babes, and every Saturday night they're packed and the lines down the sidewalk. There's no way they enforced that before last night. They had a sign up today and it was never there before. I pass it every day. So that's why I also feel, thank you, Chantel, for that. That's why I also feel like it was intentional.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's the sad
And based on the crowd of people that were going to come and support.
And then
Our people.
that makes me feel like this goes further than COVID.
Yes,
Mhm.
it's an excuse
At that point. To me, for me, that's another situation.
So where is it going for you?
It's racism.
Racism. And
Racism.
that's what Richmond is. That's what we were. People, I think people have I think beforehand people kind of masked it, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't as pronounced. But it's after this last administration, it is like prevalent, it is bold, it is live, and they are in your face about it, and then they don't care, and then they try to attack you on social media, and then you respond eloquently or respond in the same manner that they have attacked you in, and then they feel abused and threatened, and then they want to delete you and block you. When don't step into the water if you're not ready for the temperature. You know what I'm saying?
Karen.
Right.
Yes.
So it's ridiculous. It needs to change, and then it is especially saddening when you are part of a community that is oppressed. You are discriminated on a certain level, but because of privilege and color, you know what I'm saying, and maybe status, you feel that you can treat people any kind of way you want to be treated, and it's not fair. It's not right.
And as going forward, since we are dealing with racism and we are in the capital of Confederacy, the pandemic, Black Lives Matter, the protests, that have never went away from me. That is still very at the forefront of what we're dealing with in the community. So to not acknowledge it and to just not make it a topic or just to pass it by, we're doing it injustice. We have to talk about it. We have to be able to have these courageous conversations, so that way we can help improve communications, because that's exactly what it looks like from Bay's standpoint. It looks like some type of miscommunication that can lead to looking like that. So it appears that way. If it's not, we'd love to hear more too, if Babes, but at the same time, we have to be better, especially what we've learned through COVID, is that's communication. And sometimes we may have to change the way we operate and have precautions in place. If some of the venues are tight, shoulder to shoulder, no space, people French kissing in the mouth, spitting drunk, spewing their drinks on top of you. So there are things that are happening. And you guys, I'm not making this up. I go out to the club, the people I'm at home, they're kissing in the mouth and stuff like that. So that type of stuff is going on whether they're vaccinated or not, and you can still spread COVID. So to put somebody out who's wearing a mask, or to say that just because you choose not to put something in your body and discriminate, it goes back to a certain comparing it to HIV and taking PrEP in that sense. And people have a choice; they have freedom of choice, and what they put in their body is their business, their right, their body, their choice.
So when you compare that with HIV, with PrEP and the vaccine, how are you comparing that analogy so that people don't take it the wrong way? Are you saying that because HIV is like an epidemic that is happening and it is killing people slowly, that because PrEP is, available, like why weren't people mandating that PrEP be taken so that HIV is not spread like that? Like they are kind of mandating people to take the vaccine because of coronavirus.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. And not to want to, I don't want to make sure I don't misconstrue or compare COVID to HIV, because they're two different viruses that are spread different.
But in the same token, you have a choice to take either one.
That's right.
You still have a choice.
You're right.
It's not pushed on you.
At this time, you have a choice, and that's why I'm saying when we start to discriminate against people by saying whether you have to be vaccinated or you can't come here now, where we're putting off a group of people who may not do that. So now they don't get to come out. They are chastised, or they're not able to access or socialize or to have business or be around anybody. So if you stop letting them into the grocery store, so now they can't get groceries because a business can say, if you choose not to tell us your status or your vaccination status, which is your health information, then you can't come in.
But when you look at all of the businesses in the city, they not doing that.
Right.
They not.
It's a choice.
Right.
Some of them say it basically the door will say if you are fully vaccinated, you can wear a mask. The choice is yours.
Right. I've seen some that say mask encouraged.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
not mandatory,
but it's a choice that everybody is given a choice.
It's a choice.
You know what I'm saying?
Even I, who was very skeptical at first about getting vaccinated, I was very like Kia. I just did not want it. Just felt like it wasn't for me. I felt like it was rushed. It was the previous administration has had his hands in it, so a lot about it just was like, let me wait. And it came to a point where I felt like it was time to move on. We were in a new administration where Biden and Harris was really pushing it, and I wanted to get back to some sense of normalcy. I too want to travel and be able to, do the things that I enjoy doing, and I don't want my decision not to be vaccinated, knowing that I'm good, affecting someone who may have a compromised immune system. Was my reason too for getting vaccinated. Even though I could still get it, even being vaccinated, I did not want my stubbornness, my decision for not getting vaccinated to make someone in my family or someone else sick that I didn't know if I was a carrier of it and did not have it to infect someone else. So.
Right. Look, to change the subject a little bit, Austin commented, but it won't stop you from getting to the Vic on September the 3rd. I know you had your heart set on this night with many people coming to support you. It's sad that they did this at the last minute. Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah.
But the good thing is people love me and people still are cash apping me and making sure I'm good, and people can still cash out me if they want.
You were already ready for the to be fair, and let's be honest.
But I still
it's definitely only about how the situation was handled because you have been completely ready. So,
Last things I was finishing off, like my Airbnb, my transportation while I was there. So.
But like I stated, God is in control, and things were already handled.
Yes.
Yeah.
Won't he do it?
You're right.
So
won't he do it?
Yes. So Chris said here in DC, it's no longer becoming a choice. More and more places are making it mandatory to enter their establishments.
And I think that's part of the problem is that we get into is that sticky line of impinging on people's liberties. And people can do whatever they want. They can put whatever they want in their mouth. They can put whatever they want anywhere else. They can put a shot in their arm. They totally have that right. And people also have the right to, based on whatever they need they have. If they feel like they can take other precautions by wearing a mask, staying home, social distancing, and not entering large groups of people, there are people that are like that are living, that don't have to go out socially in a bar to communicate. They could be living a normal life. They don't have to have a shot if that's not what they want. They shouldn't be forced to take a shot. And we should at least make it a comfortable space anyway, because of the hesitancy that we're facing. There's a lot of vaccination hesitation. And that's why I was being attacked earlier, is because of, that information and saying that, spewing this information is incorrect. But we have to not forget that people have a choice, and we're eliminating the choice. Once we eliminate the choice, it's there's no freedom there. And then it could start with that, and it can lead to other things. And if you're saying, well, this is to protect you, this is to protect other people, also we have to look at what guns are doing, because here in the capital city of Richmond, where we live at, there are tons of people being shot and killed in the city of Richmond, that violence and guns. So guns can be used to protect myself. So when you talk about protection, and this is vaccination should be for protection, I think we have to talk about guns are for protection too, and they're killing people. So we have to just be careful what we're doing as far as communicating those guidelines, so that way no one feels like I'm getting turned away and I'm being discriminated against, and this community is not opening and accepting and helping to educate me. Instead, they're just shunning away and making me feel less than. And that's a lot of discrimination that we already face in the straight community. So,
but also when people say stuff about you, you have to put your big girl panties on and let that roll off your back like water on a duck's back, because you know how people are hurtful. You have dealt with discrimination as a gay individual. But imagine us being black and brown and being black trans women, and seeing that and dealing with that on a day to day basis. How do you think that affected me or made me feel? You know what I'm saying? Because, you how do you think like literally how do you think that make us feel as black people? You know what I'm saying? Like that's something we deal with on a day-to-day basis. And then when you think about trans people who don't have passing privilege and are black or are Puerto Rican, Latino, not white, what they deal with. Look at how we getting murdered on a day-to-day basis. The life expectancy for trans women is 36.
it's sad. It's sad. Yeah, I can't speak on somebody how that someone else can be able to do it, and I just want to be a part of the solution to try to point out injustice or to try to make it better, to share information, to let people know that it's a choice, and freedom of choice is something that I'm really passionate about. And so,
when you hear the word inclusivity, what does it mean? That's did you want that?
Unity. I think a gathering, multiple people to coming together. Yes.
Sweet tea.
I think when I think of inclusivity, like everybody feeling a part, or like their voice is heard, they have outlets to share their voice and to be heard, and togetherness. I think of togetherness and accepting, open arms, accepting, and that's what kind of inclusive means to me.
Oh, in a perfect world, if that's what it is.
Right.
If that's what it was. But that doesn't exist. So
she's gonna be a woman of few words. But no, but inclusivity should be something that is displayed within our own community, so that straight people can take us seriously and cisgender people can take us seriously in our worlds. Like nothing really like surprises me with people. Like if you show me that's who you are, that's who you are. And I may not like some parts of you. I may not like all of you. You know what I'm saying? So it's my choice to whether I have you in my in my universe, in my stratosphere, and your energy. I just think that people need to, especially people who are LGBTQ, because we know how we want to be accepted by people. So shame on you, for not being inclusive of your whole entire community. Because think about how you wanted to be accepted, whether you were gay, whether you were bisexual, whether you were lesbian, gender nonconforming, transgender, intersex, questioning, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Your fears about coming out, your worries about, whether you're going to be accepted or not. And then, think about other people and how you're making them feel, and people who don't have that privilege.
Especially in the LGBT community, where people may seek our community and come to us because their families shun upon them, their families disown them, and they're coming to find acceptance. And for our own people we should do better about bringing them in to educate and allow them the freedoms to choose what they choose to do.
In question and answer, that was Dollar Dallas.
Freedom of choice.
So, Elizabeth said the part of this that irks me the most is that these community safe spaces are being taken away from the groups that need it most. Is segregation, pure and simple, not to mention the intersectionality of classes.
Yes, classism.
Yes, we see.
Talk to that. Talk to her comment.
Oh, I was asking for tea. What was it again? One more time. I'm sorry.
So she said the part of this that irks me the most is that these community safe spaces are being taken away from the groups that need it most. Is segregation, pure and simple, not to mention the intersectionality of classes.
Well,
Wow.
they've been taking it away. So, for as far as I can remember.
Yeah.
And so it's sad that it's still being taken away so many years later. Like, where have we come? What have we grown into, or where have we come from? Absolutely nothing.
And it's definitely classism because it's folks who have privilege, folks who have
Mhm.
money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so they know that, we need these spaces, or not, I ain't gonna say need them, but want to be a part of them for
Yeah.
community and acceptance and being with like-minded
So
people.
what they
Fellowship, yeah,
so what they
fellowship.
do is on the urban night or the black nights, they up the prices on the alcohol. The dynamics change, whether it be plastic cups versus glass cups,
Yes.
and or when they don't open the entire bar up. When there's like little other spaces they open up on other nights that they don't open on,
Like in the alley with the rats, the alley cats.
no,
and the
just
alley
like when they
rats.
have like lounge areas and things like that, and they won't open those areas, but you can go on the other nights and everything's open, but on the urban night it's so closed off and certain things aren't open on these nights. So I've seen it.
And like for me, I like growing up in Richmond, I knew the history of what it was, but I never really experienced racism until like I came out into the LGBTQ community. That was like really when I saw racism at its finest. You know what I'm saying? In a space where with people who were different like me, you know what I'm saying?
Still had that.
Right. But the racism was very prevalent. Like during the era of when I worked at Godfrey's, like they were sharing pictures recently, of at Godfrey's when I was working at Godfrey's.
What's that?
And,
What's that?
The alley cat.
So when I was looking at the pictures, like one of them that I got to, it really and for me, when I hear music, I look at a video, I look at a picture, it takes me back to that moment. You know what I'm saying? And so when I was looking at the picture, it was like I went back to who that girl was then, and she was like in a horrible place, and I was like, oh, so many bad memories. You know what I'm saying? Because that is where racism really slapped me in the face big time. And it is also where I began to find my voice.
This was on your timeline
recently? Yes, girl, yes.
Let me go see. I want to read the body language in the photo.
And like I said, it's just crazy. So where at what age of your life was it when you recognized racism? Yeah, but it's not that.
Not that picture. It's the one by the water fountain.
No, the one with me in that blue French costume dancing with.
Okay. Let me go.
Yeah, that person. Chantel said Richmond LGBTQ bars and clubs have never been inclusive or safe for Black and brown folks. We need some Black and brown owned spots to start patronizing. You know, I really think that that's true, Chantel.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that, you know, I would hope that when our community come together, they don't act like how they acted when they was at colors fighting outside,
Right.
how they fight outside of
Mm-hmm.
Godfrey's. You know what I'm saying? I think that as a community, if it's a space that someone that is BIPOC is providing for us to celebrate and fellowship and be safe and be feel included and be respected, then they need to respect that, you know, like they respect our mama's home if they have any respect. Or no, let me better yet, respect that like they respect the church or, you know, wherever that higher power, if they get that soul fed, where they not acting a fool, acting crazy. Because that's the problem with us as people. You know what I'm saying? We can't come together. We can't stand
Mm-hmm.
together. You know what I'm saying? You see somebody speak out about an injustice, but you be quiet about it because you want to stay within the space for to do whatever it is that you want to do. Or somebody branch off to try to better themselves and build something because they may be inspired by what you're doing. And then you try to chastise them or belittle them or, you know, control them in a way that is oppressing them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we as a community can't uplift one another. We always trying to turn each other down, and it's crazy. It's like a crabs in the barrel mentality. We cannot uplift and inspire people. And I want everybody to win. I want you to win, even if I don't like you. You know what I'm saying? I want
Yes.
everybody to win. That's why I advocate the way I do. That's why, you know, I'm non-judgmental in the services I provide. I help people I don't even like. You know what I'm saying? But it's not about me liking them. It's about because they're in need. It's about because that's what God put on my heart to do to help people. And you know, when crazy stuff happen or the devil get busy and things happen, God blesses me so that I don't have to worry about the foolishness that the devil is trying to do. Like he can't succeed, he can't win. So I just need, you know, us as a community to level up and support each other. When you look at other communities, they stick together. Their families work together. They live together. They all level up. Then you know everybody got there. Everybody got a $500,000 house. Everybody got a store
Or they own nail salon.
yeah, something.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to make sure that when we talk about the segregation with the vaccination, that we just be mindful of
Girl,
it.
you back there again?
Yeah.
Oh man, I thought we had I thought we had a fast forward.
I know we
No.
had got our phone calls on that.
The vaccine made me sleepy. I'm kind of ready for it to get juicy.
You ready for it to get juicy?
Yes, what we got some juicy questions.
We got some juicy questions.
Yeah.
Oh, these questions were juicy.
They were very juicy. They were very juicy.
Well, how juicy is it that you want to get, Caleb?
Yes.
So juicy that I'm just teasing.
What's the question?
So we
I don't know.
got a comment from a viewer. Chris said, "I came out to the Black gay community with you and others. I wasn't aware of the racism within the community until I was introduced to the white gays. They even gave me blues, guilty by association." I know, baby. And it wasn't right. It wasn't right in a space where you should feel safe because you identify within the rainbow. And that foolishness still exists today. It still exists today.
It's in every community.
And then what
Yes.
kills me is how
It's in
they
every
look at some black people like you're less than.
It's
You
in
know what
every
I'm saying?
community, and especially in this community.
Mhm.
It's sad. It's always been that way. It was, oh my God, back in Scandals, I can remember. You know, it was Scandals, Babes, which is still the same. You know, it's like
The Uptown Lounge. don't
Uptown
forget that,
Lounge
'cause
and,
Miss Kelly
and,
told
and,
me
and
stories
then
of-
Christopher's.
Yeah,
It's amazing how these clubs that have survived have kept that
that tone.
that tone. You
Mhm.
know that we'll accept you, but you're really not welcome.
Mhm.
We just want your money.
We will entertain you so that we're not,
But then it
so
also
that it's not as obvious that we are racist, but we really don't want you here. It's always been that way. You can tell by the security. You can,
And the door piece.
yeah, it sets the tone as soon as you walk in.
So I don't want to raise my children here.
No, but that's something we have to do is stop patronizing. That can help. Like, once you start spending your money at places that are accepted and that are more aligned, I think that's one way to try to put some of those places out, out of business that are not being inclusive.
So you saying discriminate against the children?
Just I think that you could patronize other places, so not discriminate, but just stay away from people who do that type of business.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just go where places who are doing
don't
this.
spend on your money.
Right, don't give them any money. Yeah.
Well, Austin, yeah, you might be right, Austin. Austin said it seems to me that babes didn't want all that drip over there because y'all was about to twirl the house down. I think you're right.
Yes.
They may not
And,
all of that beauty and
yes.
fashion
And I've been to one of them shows. And I'm gonna say now some of the girls were very much on point, but for the most part, most of them
They won't.
shouldn't be
very lackluster, shouldn't be on a show.
They didn't.
But hey, how much they paying them? You get what you pay for.
They should go down to Sandman Comedy Club.
Oh, yes, the Sandman Comedy Club. I absolutely enjoyed myself over there with Aaliyah Michaels over. Thank you for having me. The hospitality was amazing.
Yes,
the staff was amazing. The food was amazing. Just being welcomed by everybody on the staff, not only the owner, but his staff, his lighting, the technicians, the bartenders, the waitress. Like, that's how business should be.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
And not once were we asked about a vaccination.
No, absolutely not.
At all.
No.
At all.
Never.
And as a patron, I just want to shout out to Sandman because in some of maybe our other community bars that are supportive of our community can try to catch up and try to change, because when you went in to place your order at Sandman, you could pull up on the app and you could place your order, you could pay for it. They came directly to your seat. So it wasn't a lot of communication. You could sit down and you could pull up on your phone by scanning a QR code and be connected to exactly where your table was, what table you were, and be able to pay your tab, tip, everything without a lot of type of contact.
A lot of restaurants are doing that. I was just at the Boathouse at Rockets Landing, and that's exactly how it is. You only see the people when they're bringing your food or your drinks, but you do everything on the phone with a code. And if you really need them, there's a button you push, but they're not. It's changing.
Well, before we go, we're going to take a little minute break for us to refresh our cocktails and have a bio break. If you're enjoying this conversation, please continue to stay live with us. Chris, we're going to get back to your comment in a second, because I totally believe that we are going in the right direction in some places. So we're going to talk about that when we come back. But we need to refresh in our cocktails and as well as have a light bio break. So we'll be back.
What's a bio break, baby?
The bathroom, baby.
Yeah. Meeting in the ladies' room.
PrEP, the pill to help prevent HIV.
Having risky sex? Come closer. Come closer. Let's get some information on PrEP. Get PrEP today. PrEP starts with B. Call and schedule your HIV test today.
I'm a Haitian, about to start PrEP. Taking control of my life so that HIV doesn't control me. Get PrEP.
Black trans lives matter, and we must do everything we can to protect ourselves. Can I get a snap for PrEP?
No problem. If you are insured and are interested or have questions, Please contact us or Kayla Finn, your prep coordinator, at 804-467-0480.
Get prepped AF today.
We want you to remember to get prepped AF today. To schedule an appointment, call 804-716-7597. Always aim to inspire. Let's get that prep. So we are back, y'all. We are back. We are back. So we want to get back to Chris's statement. Chris said, I really do believe that there is a new Richmond versus old Richmond. New Richmond is winning. let's keep that momentum going. And I do agree that this is not Richmond that it used to be.
Yeah.
Because I know back in the day, like you would be stoned for being who you were in Richmond. Police harassed you in Richmond. You know, just walking to
Y'all had panty laws here, didn't y'all? Like
Yeah.
if you were
if you like was a female impersonator or transgender or whatever it was that you were at that time, and you were dressing in women's clothing, you had to have on a piece of male clothing somewhere, and if you did not, you were arrested. It was like being homosexual was on the books for a long time. Marriage equality happened before that law really like changed and switched over. It's a law in the books about condom carrying. Like depending on how many condoms you have, police can arrest you for suspicion of sex work. Like when we used to go out on Chamberlain, when we first was opening to give out condoms to people, I had to call the police to let them know where we were and where my people were giving out condoms.
so they want you to have the disease. They want you to be in the clinic itching and scratching and burning and yearning.
I think that's like, that's like all part of the change. Like those are the things that we went through. Like,
and who changed those things?
Well, I was instrumental in a lot of those.
tell us a little bit about some of those changes and how you played a part in that, because you are really a huge activist and philanthropist and all of that. Like, so tell us about some of the change you have made and tell us,
So I guess the like first monumental thing that happened that like started like people noticing my work and me noticing the power of my voice and what I could do if I put my mind to it was the transgender health clinic that was at Fan Free Clinic. And for that to be funded with state money when there were laws, that criminalized our activities. And so that was monumental because there was nowhere for us to access hormone replacement therapy and stuff like that. And so from that work, then there were other clinics who were implemented in the state who followed that model. I have advocated for many years about equality for trans people, LGBTQ people. And so my work and testifying with Equality Virginia in regards to the Virginia Values Act, that law went into place last year that protects trans and LGBTQ individuals as it relates to credit, public accommodations, housing, all of those things. And then a lot of people, I have to throw this in there. A lot of people sometimes be like, well, hey, well, why is these people need to have these laws? You know what I'm saying? We are the most marginalized, the most oppressed. So when there are laws that protect us, these laws also protect so many other people. They trickle up for other people. So when we're advocating for stuff, it's just not because of some crazy thing that just we want to happen. It is really an injustice that is happening to a lot of different people and not just trans and LGBTQ people. So that law was monumental. Doing some work with decriminalization of HIV, name change, things that are happening in Virginia in relation to birth certificates and IDs, policies that protect trans people as it relates to homeless shelters that was done in the city of Richmond, creating programs for homeless youth, creating Nations Foundation that serves LGBTQ people, specifically trans women, and now the city of Richmond in its entirety because we service straight people, gay people, vaccinated people,
we service everybody.
Welcome.
Ones that have been racist to you in the past, rude, nasty. We service them all.
Welcome doors.
We service them all, and that's something I have learned from you because I used to be very that way when people hurt my feelings or I didn't want to be. I can't talk to them, but no, you just treat them with kindness and. You need something, I'll be here for you.
To a certain degree.
Absolutely.
To a certain degree.
Absolutely.
Like when it comes to Nations and the work that Nations does and me helping people with housing, food, yes. Now if you somebody I don't like and you come in and you want to borrow my jewelry, something like that. Hell no. You know what I'm
That good
it's limited.
No, it's business. Like I'm saying, when people have done things and they come in for a service, we still help them in a service matter because you're still a person. So.
Yes, most definitely. And that's something that I think that all healthcare providers should model.
Yes.
You know, a lot of people have personal biases about our community that are in seats that help our communities or give our communities access. And I think that everybody need to be that like that. Just, you know, you gonna help whoever. You may not like how they live. You may not like what they're doing sexually. You may not like what they have on. But this is somebody who is in need. So it's about helping them. Now on the contradictory of that, if somebody's extending you help and transportation and opportunities to get to help and you are in an immediate need, then you need to follow through. But one thing that I do dislike is when our community tries to use the services as a way of survival and not really trying to use the services to elevate themselves and learn the lessons from the programs and things that are implemented to uplift, empower, educate them. Instead, they try to use the system, and then when things don't go that way, they want to badger people or try to make people think that people are not really a resource for them. When at the end of the day, we want you to win. You know what I'm saying? But you have to invest as much of yourself as we are investing into you. Like we can't do all the work. We can't connect you to care, go with you to the appointment, be at your house to make you take the meds. If you homeless, you know, tell you, you know, come on over here, get in. If we can't go get you, put you in the Uber, take you to the hotel, put you in the hotel. We can't do all that. We give you the tools, we assist, we help educate you, we offer the opportunities for you to grow and be better,
navigate you.
but you have to put in the work yourself. And if you don't put in that work and then you don't get your way, then it's an issue with the people.
But I'm a firm believer in you have to put in the work, but you have to want it for yourself. If you don't want it for yourself, you're not gonna put in the work. So you have to want it for yourself.
Yeah, I always tell them it's like a bank. If you don't deposit, you can't withdraw. You
It's
gotta
all what you put into
gotta
it.
put something in it. You gotta put something in it. When we believe that you're willing to invest in yourself, we will help you. And that's what we're here for.
When you're a trans woman, like why are you not trying to pour into yourself?
Yeah, that's
like you are going through so many steps to be authentically you, to go against all of what is considered normal. You know what I'm saying? You take on so many odds that are against you. So why would you not, you know, if you need these services, get in there and get everything that you can get and learn and build and grow.
But that can sometimes come from where she's coming from mentally and what she's been dealing with. In some instances, like I say, it goes back to you still have to want it for yourself. You know, and I do agree. Some girls want to do it for the wrong reasons. They just want to take advantage, but a lot of people want to take advantage of the system, regardless of what it is. But you have to want it for yourself.
But you know, when you take advantage of the system, it comes back.
It doesn't. You don't get anything out of it. You don't win.
Karma.
I would say that we have come so far as the people, as trans people. We've come so far. Thank God that we can. The sky's really the limit for a lot of us. All the laws that have been passed last year, like so much has changed now, and it's really, you got to believe in yourself. You use the resources to elevate yourself. We've come so far, and a lot of it is about your will. Your will to make it. You have to pour into yourself.
And as trans people, we are resilient. So there's that resiliency in there. It's just a greater level of laziness and not trying to pour into yourself.
And some
But
of us don't want
it
that.
shouldn't be the same way as it was for us back then, because now we have
We're
organizations
a little
and
more
resources that we didn't
opportunities.
have back
Back
then.
then.
We have support groups. We have programs now to help you, give you the skills and the tools to make it. So it shouldn't be the same struggle for you today as it was for us back then. You know, it shouldn't be. We've come too far.
Hey, Caden, he said some people aren't looking for a solution. They just want a place to give excuses.
Wow.
And that's why we always got to be a part of the solution. Anytime we can, like us coming together, we can come together and talk about it. We can be from different backgrounds. We can make different opinions. But one thing that we can do is come together. And that's what our community does. That's what community is about, coming together. And so
that's what our community does, or that's what our community needs to do.
Well, that's what they need to do. But as far as us, we're here today. So some of our members, I guess, some of our community, there is some great people. So, you know, there's really some gems in our community. Older people that I looked up to coming out, that were, you know, to speak out against the fighting and to try to bring the community together. There's older people in our community. And I think respect, you know, having respect for those type of people and respect amongst ourselves, like you said, if you're not willing to pour into yourself, it's about respect. And there are a lot of mental health issues too that impact our community, with being chastised from your family and, you know, insecure. There's just a whole lot of mental health, you know, without getting into all of it, that affect people. And so I think we have to try to be a little bit more supportive of people, and no matter what they're going through, and just be supportive and welcome them.
And especially being in a pandemic where you have not been able to have social like contact and like interaction, like live interaction with people. And so
they were still having interaction.
Well, we know that they was having interaction.
Y'all was still having interaction, baby. Whoa, now. Come on now.
I'm talking about in a non-sexual social
okay.
aspect.
Although they were supposed to be in a social sexual aspect, they were still socializing. No, it don't. No.
But you know, community is important. Like when I think about when I came out, community was important.
Yes.
Like it was Eric and, you know, April and Kitty and, you know, so many people that I learned different things from, whether it was good, bad, ugly, and different. You know what I'm saying? And also, people need to understand that the world is comprised of so many different people, different personalities.
Who you learn from who to read from?
Huh?
How you learn how to read so good?
So, baby, they when I became a snow honey, that was part of the initiation.
Work class.
They used to let us have it, darling, and I used to get teetotal on fire, man. Now imagine Eric Snow reading the mess out of me with that fire mouth. Him, Victoria, April, Armani, Gina Tag, Christmas, all the old heads. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I learned it. Oh, and not to forget my Benetton family, Roderick, who you took a picture with. Yeah, Roderick, Rufus. You know, I learned Reed's. You know, I went to the Reed School of Hard Knocks. And then when I went to work for Richmond City Health District, like I used to let the children have it.
In the field?
No, in the office.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, it was because I was like, one, they had kind of like frustrated me. And I guess this is where we can like segue into trans issues. But like when I went to go work there, people, they said, oh, we had this whole trans sensitivity training with the whole entire staff to tell them about you. So now y'all done outed me to the whole world.
Oh, wait a minute. I didn't ask y'all to do all that.
Right. So then, you know, like then it was a lot of misgendering happening at work. And so I started misgendering people back, and they got in their feelings about it. And it was like, well, that's how I feel when you do it to me. You know what I'm saying? And so I ended
You
up
go see your own medicine.
Yeah. And I used to end up being in HR a lot. So, because of my mouth, not my work, my mouth. And so they didn't want to let me go because I did really, really good work. I really did. My work speaks for itself. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But so they sent me to a communications class, and that was the worst thing they could have ever done. To like, that's when I really learned about different communication styles, like what we talk about in group: aggressive communication, assertive communication, non-assertive communication. And so, and then like learning new words and what they mean, and how to eloquent things.
They still have that class?
I don't know. That was something that the city did, and like I had to take like this test, and the way I would answer different, like it was like I was mad as I don't know what when I first had to like take it, but then the like rewards of it from later was good. Even like anger management, I had to go to anger management.
What?
And I
Not you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you run to Bonchon Wild bitch?
Look, I'm laughing because
you also are what?
Yeah.
What is it that you a martial artist?
Yeah. Black belt.
Black belt. Oh, okay. I heard you like kick the drum.
I try not to go.
I heard you like kick the drum with one leg walk. A two again.
Yes, black belt. Okay, work.
That's happened, but
Yes.
I try not to do that.
Ooh, I would love to see that, baby. You and me.
That's where I learned how to read from. Them two places.
Okay.
And being in anger management for real. And I didn't like sometimes God puts you in places and you don't even understand why you're going. Because like the reason that I had to go to anger management, I was a victim to what had happened, right? But because I had said something to the person who was the aggressor, they felt that it was like anger on my behalf, but I still feel like it was God
Divine
all
appointment
at the same time.
Divine, yeah.
Because I went to this class and I was like so frustrated about going to this class, and in going to the class, it really made me assess the usage of energy as it relates to people and not acknowledging everything that everybody says, and to not let these people's ignorance or their words or their actions take control over me. And it gave me inner peace. And I think it moved me to another place. So even though I didn't, understand the reasoning behind going, the end result of going was dope. Because like I was telling you earlier, those people were saying hurtful things. Those people jumped on that post because that was what they wanted to say. That post wasn't directed at them. That was how they were feeling. That is who they are. So I see you. You know what I'm saying?
I see your true
colors. I see your true colors. I see your faces. Just like I told you yesterday, that child, I told her, please have some receipts because I don't care what's going on in your life. And honestly, I was in the midst of doing laundry, and I was really getting ready to tell her that I'm doing laundry right now, and I don't even have enough washcloths for all of your faces.
or that upper body. When you lose your temper, you lose your power. And they say when you lose your temper, you lose your power.
And that's what I tell you, aggressive communication. When people are yelling at you, and like to the viewers, and y'all can agree or disagree, but when somebody is like yelling at you, are you really paying them any attention? You are really like tuning them out. Like you may have caught a few words to understand kind of the direction, but like you're not really listening for real.
Or name calling.
Right.
And become personal and start calling names. Then it becomes, I'm not listening to you because you're attacking me. So if it don't apply, let it fly. So,
but you realize they're coming from a place of hurt because it comes from a place of pain that they're dealing with. It has nothing to do with you.
And miserable.
And that's hard to see that in that moment though, because I be letting them know.
I think that is what anger management gave.
It give you a minute to pause and look.
Yeah, and look at them. and look at think
Observe.
about why they are acting like that. And child, it ain't worth me meeting you with that
That's
same level of energy and then feeling like you just feeling depleted
Yeah.
afterwards. For
Or
what?
say something you might regret because
For
they,
what?
yes.
Oh, who?
Yeah.
Why?
Period.
For what?
Right. It ain't no
Damn.
point.
I'm not giving you that kind of space in my life at all. I'm not giving you that kind of space on my timeline. People, so you leaving, you deleted me because of how I feel or what I said. Fine, good. I'm glad that leaves more space for positive energy for people who I can wake up and see them doing positive stuff.
And
Great
winning.
things happening in our life. Fur babies, pageant winners, a few fat booties here and there. All of those beautiful things. I'd rather see that on my timeline than to wake up and see a bunch of negativity. People being hurtful language to people, violence against people. When I look at what's going on in the world, it is just like what the Bible said in Revelations, like coronavirus. It must be this pandemic disease that was coming around to wipe people out. People like that. Why are you looking at me like that?
No, because I want you was talking about what we want people to share, and I also to make a joke. I want everybody to share my cash app. Share that motherfucker.
We can put up banners.
Yeah, I have a give up. Share it, baby. Share it. We need a coin.
Yeah.
Baby, to give it up the pageant is like running again.
What's your cash app?
$, capital T,
Capital T,
lowercase HE, then capital K, lowercase ID, capital B, lowercase AZOOKA. Share that. BAZOOKA.
I got that.
Oh, Asha AZSIA.
Yeah.
You don't know how to spell my name.
I'm cool. And I like to be political.
I guess I'm making them drinks. I'm making them drinks good. I'm making them drinks good. I'm making the drinks right. I'm making the drinks right.
No, we talking about the lights.
But I am
fully
so-
bright. Dallas the Don. DALLAZ DADON.
DON. What's yours, Miss Denise?
DALLAZ.
DADON.
$ so real TS1.
So real. And that's her. So real.
Keep on making names. And then Miss Destiny, yours as well.
So real.
So real.
Is that TS so real? Or so real? What is it?
So SOREAL TS1.
Ooh, she's the number one. She's the realest one
Okay.
of them all.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And this, I want to say to some of the people that was on my timeline was sounding like the baby. Basically, when you start to segregate people, you're doing the same thing that the baby's doing. And so then we go to a cancel culture.
Who is that?
The baby. He's a rapper from North Carolina.
Oh, that's like Godface. What's that? But go ahead.
Oh, so the baby, basically, when we go to that, we can't do that. We can't just cancel and say we just disregard because we're shunning people away, and we got to be inclusive. If we want that same type of inclusivity when
we have
out
to educate.
Yes,
we have to educate.
We do. Yeah,
we have to educate,
and we have to just help and let them know, because it's important that it's even being talked about, because before the baby even said anything, only this group, because of the type of work that you do with HIV, but other people
to educate him after he made his statement.
So what they're doing now is he's actually partnering with some organizations, and he's going to learn more about HIV and how it is impacting the community. And I don't want to speak for his team or anything, but I'm sure we're going to see something come from him contributing to it. But I hope Well, I don't know though. So
It was, first of all, his apology that he tried to make, it made no sense. It didn't come from a place of sincerity for me. That was strike one. Well, the whole ordeal was strike one. Then his apology that he tried to strike two. Then when he did come with something, it was obvious he hired a publicist or someone immediately to write it. It was just, it didn't match up with your apology. Then to remove the apology after the fact, come on now.
But I think we just don't want to go straight to canceling. We got to give people they got to be entitled to their opinion, just like the people that's
cancel that ass.
No, we gotta
cancel
say
them asses. I'm telling you, because we are the one that really. I'm not gonna go there, but cancel.
We got to educate, because the thing about it is someone who is speaking from that place may not know.
So
and they may not
why
know.
we don't have to educate when they calling our phones and sneaking over to our houses? They know what to come in and do when they coming over on the low. So how they don't know how to address or handle or conduct themselves.
It could be out of lack of knowledge. It could be
see, and then the thing is, you want me to conduct myself appropriately when I run into my DL boo thing. You want me to conduct myself appropriately,
and not spill the tea.
And not so why you can't conduct yourself appropriately?
Yeah. I think it's a good learning lesson for her. I think, but we can't just cancel. We got to do better, educate, because when our community does that, we do the same thing.
I think educate, and also we gotta be honest.
Yes,
because it's a lot that goes on that people don't discuss, and that people we're all in this together. Everybody is related or some type of way, and I think educating each other and being a little bit more accepting,
inclusive.
To it. Because the children was shamed. On every account.
And everybody we just have to extend a little bit more grace, just to try to think about a little grace when you're bullying and when you're behind your keyboards. And this is for anybody sitting be hate. Just please think about a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Give you a little time.
Yeah, that's why you have to delete it before you
grace,
send it. It's been a lot of things I've typed and I'll read, and it's okay. I can't send this. I can't post this. So just think about it.
And it's a lot of times I type stuff out. It may not even be like on social media platform.
It might be a text message.
It could be a text message. It
Email.
Could be like I'm in Google Docs and I just type up some stuff to read the eyes out of somebody and say all the stuff that I want to say, and then just like delete it so that I feel better.
Yeah.
Sometimes that is like choosing level of engagement.
Mm-hmm.
Are you really ready to go full throttle? Am I being petty today? Do I have the energy for that today? See, like yesterday, I had the energy for pettiness. Hence why when that child jumped on my post, I just jumped back in and was being petty.
Mm-hmm.
I'm human, and we all are.
You was being Duval,
but I was being professional Duval. One thing I do is when I do read. I ain't cursing at you.
Right.
I'm not being disrespectful to you.
Right.
I'm stating facts. I may be a little condescending in my delivery, but I'm never making you feel less than, and I'm never attacking.
Well, when I'm reading, I'm gonna make you feel like the scum of my shoe. You ain't shit. I gotta get my point across, and I have to gut you long and wide. I don't know if that's a Florida thing. I'm sorry.
I think that happens. That depends.
Mm-hmm.
That depends on the instance of where I am. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that too.
And like what's going on, and then probably who is saying
the setting
and how you are saying it. Like at the Walmart, right? It was this lady. And by the way, Miss Kelly is looking at us and she said, I can't.
Baby.
But I was at the Walmart on the street, and it like kills me when people have privilege and how honored sometimes old people get. So she was in the car, right?
What kind of card?
The little
Hover around, the little scooter.
Yeah.
Tell the whole story.
They know she wasn't in no shopping cart. They know she was not in a shopping cart, baby. She was on one of them like hovercraft things right around the store. And you know, people will get in them and don't even need to be.
No,
So
absolutely
anyway,
not.
if anybody know how Walmart is set up, it is like the produce part, and it's like all these little byways and bypasses, and you can go on down through the bakery area where the bread is. You know, all these little ways to maneuver. So I'm standing there and I'm like looking at my vegetables. I'm trying to get my stuff. So I'm not paying any attention to this lady on this hovercraft, and she's standing there. So I don't know if she's like looking at me or what she's doing, but like her nose is snarled out. So like I turn back to my basket and I'm looking at my stuff. I put it in the basket. So she gets really irate with me and basically like cusses me out and tell me get the F out the way and just was real, got real indignant, and I lost it and I let her have it viciously. And so then then she was like, she called her son, which was some big, huge football player looking dude, and she started getting cute. And I was like, child, I don't care about your son. You and him can get it. Being disrespectful to me. And it was all about me being in the way. And then you went to the bread aisle. So it's just like people nowadays, they really just like have this thing where they just feel like they can just be whoever and they can just say whatever. And I think Donald Trump is a real cause of that because of how he was as a president and how he just said whatever. He has cited the level of racism that we see now. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, but I think that also comes with age too. Because sometimes I've seen older people, they just rude. When they get to
comfortable being disrespectful.
Especially when they get to a certain.
And I think that we gotta have that courageous conversation like we're doing. Sometimes you gotta let people know. You gotta tap them in, make sure that y'all can see.
What?
You get what I'm saying, and let these people know.
And
sometimes
you gotta put these old people in that.
Yes, and let them know. Yeah,
like, no shade.
Yeah.
No shade, because I'm gonna respect you because you're elder, but you're just not gonna just like.
There are boundaries.
Exactly. There are levels, and
Cause I slap an old bitch.
We don't choose.
I'm just teasing. I'm teasing.
Baby,
no domestic violence.
Right.
No, I'm
we're
joking.
not choosing violence.
Yeah, but sometimes they gotta be put in that way.
Unless you get
because
too
at the end of
close.
the day, we're adults too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, we're adults. We're adults.
And I ain't your child, and you ain't my mama.
You know, for those who are older, like, you know, the elderly, who continues to have those ways, we just gotta wait for them to, you know, that God bless them to live as long as they live for that time to move on. But we're dealing with the newer generation, like the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys, and so we're dealing with a whole nother generation of that racism. So you know, it's just ugly.
If you look at these,
you can't defeat it. You just have to learn how to attack it. Really, how to deal with it.
And it's evident. Look at these signs in these yards. Look, like the gubernatorial election get ready to come up for our governor, and Youngkin is definitely completely a Trump supporter. You know what I'm saying? And look at all of the Youngkin signs. It was just like when Trump, you know, and I'll be riding around here, girl, and I'll be.
They go for anybody that is not a D. Anybody that doesn't have a D.
What's a D?
A Democrat.
Oh.
And anybody who like that incites foolishness, because y'all can have issues with L.G.B.T.Q people. You know, he has already said that like Trump is like.
Anybody who wants to keep things or go back to where they said make America great. Anybody who wants to keep those same ideology, you know, and
you're going backwards. Yeah, and we got to go forward. And that's like people want to keep going backwards before the pandemic. I want to get back to some normalcy or pre-pandemic. We can't keep going back. Maybe we're here for a reason. We're in this new place. So now we're here. We got to keep trying to go forward because if we backwards ain't it.
Yeah. And let's just say it never was a vaccine, right? What we doing?
We'll be at more dead probably. Because how many did we lose before the vaccine? We went to the million, right?
But see, we only know the information because a lot of people too were reported deaths were not even dying from COVID, but they were being classified as a COVID death because that's what the hospital classified them as. But they didn't necessarily die from COVID. They were dying from heart attack or stroke. But there was a certain time that if you just passed, you were diagnosed with COVID, you were assumed that was people's passing. And so a lot of numbers could have been inflated.
So you're saying it was a conspiracy theory?
But guess what?
It's always good to keep
what?
questioning. I think it's always good to keep a level of transparency and question.
My mentor in New York City passed away from COVID. He went to the hospital and they sent him back home. And he went back home and they found him in his home, in his bed. And he was a 5-time Emmy Award hairstylist for The View. Yeah, so that also played a part in me being vaccinated, for those who.
But also dealing with insurance companies as well. And some of the instances of death, some of them, it could have been a blessing that it was ruled out as COVID, because a lot of times dealing with insurance companies, when it can be other things, the family won't get paid out or they won't get paid. So that could have been a blessing for some families or some people, in depending on the case. I'm just saying, just hopefully, but hey.
I mean, hopefully it did benefit, but that is the consideration to think about with, because it's been many times I know people who went to the doctor and got a virus. They didn't even know what virus they got. They just were infected with a virus. The virus has to run its course. So to your point, if we didn't get a vaccine, what would we do? What we've done in the past when you've gone to the doctor and the doctor say, well, this is a virus that's causing this. And they say, let it run. It's got to run its course. I mean, so what we do?
I just look at when I really decided to get vaccinated was because my surgery day had came through. I knew I was going to be going to Florida. I knew I was going to be getting some major surgery done. So I wanted an extra layer of protection to protect me. And then the fact that we do come into contact with a lot of people, in the work that we do. But also looking at the fact that through the entire pandemic, my staff won't have it. Y'all can attest to it probably about
getting tested every month.
The mandatory testing.
But you got to you got to be safe.
Yeah.
And especially working in the field.
And nobody tested positive.
And I would say that I'm glad that it was never mandatory that we have to, because I thought that in the field that we work, in the community, dealing with the community, that might have been and I was like, but that was never an issue. That it was my decision to finally get tested. It was my own personal decision.
And I think that's important. I think that personal choice is one of the most important things that we as human beings can have.
Absolutely.
And if you choose not to get this vaccine, then that's your choice. And people need to respect your choice. Just like people want people to respect that choice of who they love and who they sleep with. You know what I'm saying? Then you should respect my choice of what I want to do medically for me and not shun me or make me feel less than because my choice doesn't align with your way of thinking, because we're the United States of America. We're diverse.
Absolutely.
In thinking. And even Congress and this, they don't agree. They don't always agree. And then they have to debate and come to a common ground to agree or agree to disagree. You know what I'm saying? And I think that we as people need to do just that, mind our own business. You want, the things the principles and values that you have, your beliefs, that you believe in firmly, you want people to honor and respect that. You know what I'm saying? So why would you impede on someone's, values and personal choice? You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason. And it really doesn't have to be negated, or discussed. You should just respect the fact that this is what it is for me and this is what I say. and create environments where everybody is included.
Inclusive.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and heard. Yeah, and seen and heard.
All right.
Well, I think we have had a riveting conversation.
I think time is up.
Yes,
Yes, y'all got y'all's free time.
Thank you so much for the
Yes,
table
cheers.
discussion tonight. We hope that y'all have enjoyed it. Maybe we'll come back and do another round table. This was kind of cute. What y'all think?
Yeah. But join
I
us in
liked it.
Chicago September 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th for Miss Continental Elite, Mr. Continental, Miss Continental Plus, and Miss Continental Labor Day weekend in Chicago, Illinois, held at the Park West for Miss Continental Elite and Mr. Continental, and at the Vic Theater for Miss Continental Plus and Miss Continental.
Yes,
Wow.
you gotta do your
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
And as Miss Louisiana Continental, I'm asking that everybody yell and cheer for me on September the 3rd. I'm going to be doing something special on that day. So when I do that special thing, I'm going to give an instruction for everybody, and I hope that everybody follows suit. That would be an amazing way to support me and show your love for me on September the 3rd.
Absolutely.
Let me just say, I am super, super excited before we go. Like, I was so amped up before the pandemic happened, getting ready and prepared for Continental Elite. When Kayla won in 19, she and I crossed paths in Malaysia's hotel room, and I went to Continental Elite when she won to do my homework. And I don't know if many people know, but in 15, I was like preparing to do Continental Elite. And then my 501c3 came through for Nations, and I just changed directions and focused on where my passion was and where my interests were and where the need for the community was. And I always said that once things got to a point, and there was staff and things, I was able to have that freedom to reign on a national level, that I would come back, to that. And so here I am. And so when the pandemic hit, like, I was so devastated because I had been preparing so long. And I know some of my friends was like, Lord, this child is going through it, and we are in a pandemic, you don't understand. But I guess, like, it was almost like I felt like a kid at Christmas waiting on Christmas Day to come, and then Christmas Day came, and then there was nothing under the tree.
How do you think I felt?
I get it.
Oh my God. Call me the quarantine queen. I have lived in 4 different cities as Miss Continental Elite.
Yeah,
And it's insane.
The long
Started in Jacksonville when I won. Then in my career, I was moved to Connecticut. And then the pandemic happened. Moved back to Florida and then to Virginia. And it is finally happening. I am so excited. I'm excited for all the contestants and I'm just excited. I'm so excited.
I'm excited to do battle. And people, like, I guess, kind of underestimate me. But maybe they're gonna.
It's gonna be exciting, y'all.
Yeah. I feel like, when the church say, let's get ready to rumble. I'm ready to rumble.
Y'all ready for this? The spirit fingers.
And the journey to Continental Elite is gonna be the battle. That's why the tickets sold out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
We are sold out. General admission only.
Yeah, and that's dope. So, look, the viewers have went back up when we got this house. Well, that was just a little bit that we was giving, honey. If you're rooting for somebody, that's good. But like I told you,
absolutely, all the best to all the contestants in every division. I know we have our favorites and everyone we're rooting for, but when we're at the pageant, be sure to clap for everyone.
Oh yes.
Be sure to clap for everyone.
My team to be like,
respectful of everybody.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to display what I have worked on, and I'm excited. So.
All right.
See y'all.
Bye.
See you in September.